On this episode of Tiger TV, I'm at the University of Iowa with Coach Rick Heller, and we're talking about Snapchat, we're talking about his schedule, and what does the baseball operations guy do? Hi everybody, welcome back to Tiger TV. I am your host, Spiker Helms, and this is episode 3. I'm here at the University of Iowa with head coach Rick Heller. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Spiker. Appreciate it.
So I don't want to miss any of these stats because you guys had an unbelievable year, made it to a regional, played against top competition, 41-18, 3 All-Americans, John Olerud finalist, 6 Big Ten selections, 5 Major League draft picks, finished 20th in the country, and it was the first postseason win since 1972 for the University of Iowa. I mean, that's pretty impressive, and it's only your 3rd year.
It was a fun season, that's for sure. And I had a great group of guys that bought into a plan and set some high goals, and you see what can happen when you get a bunch of guys on the same page.
And winning is not foreign to you because, I mean, you've gone to 3 different Division I schools. You were at a Division III before that. Mm-hmm. But what's most impressive is that you go into a school, and it takes you only 3 years, and then you end up turning that program into a very well-respected, almost a powerhouse type of program. So, I mean, what is it? So, because I mean, with my history, we played against you at Indiana State, and it was very highly respected. I mean, what is the underlining factor?
Well, I don't know if there's anything magic, but I think whenever you walk into a new program, one thing that's really important is that if you want to try to turn things around quickly, that you really need to love and care for the guys who are there. A lot of guys, I think, come into programs and say, I'm not going to be any good until my first recruiting class or my second recruiting class. And, the places that I've been, like at Iowa, for example, our first meeting, I told every guy in that room, I'm not here to run you guys off. Mm-hmm. Everybody gets a fair shot. I don't care what anybody has told me in the past about you. I'm going to judge you for myself. We're going to lay out some things that we want to do. I'm going to challenge you to, change the culture of Iowa baseball. Mm-hmm. Classroom, off the field, work ethic, what we represent, unselfishness. And if you want to be a part of something special like that, mm-hmm. then we're going to welcome you with open arms. Now, at the end of the year, you don't want to, do what we're doing, then, we can possibly part ways then. But nobody gets run out of the program. And I told them, we tell them that we're going to love them and care for them just the same as if we recruited them. So I think you ease a lot of guys' mind, and most guys at that point in time, if you're coming in to somewhere new, they're ready for a change. And mm-hmm. Like at Iowa, these guys welcomed us with open arms, did everything that we asked them to do. And they did. They changed the culture that first season. Last year was great, and we were able to have an awesome season. But I thought we had a really good year in year one. We won 30 games, made the tournament for the first time in a while, Big Ten tournament, won a game in the tournament. Mm-hmm. And that really whet the appetite of those guys coming back. And the commitment was there in the fall, last season. The guys worked hard in the summer, did a great job in the summer leagues. And then I could tell our first meeting, day one last year, that group was focused and driven on really achieving some high goals, and we had great leadership too.
Now, is that a conversation that you have with those guys when you first come in? Is it a meeting, or is it phone calls? Like what is it?
Well, what we did, no, it's a meeting. It's the very first team meeting that we had. Mm-hmm. I did some preliminary work. I called every guy before school started and mm-hmm. just told them I was looking forward to working with them, and all that type of thing. And then in the team meeting, I just really tried to set the tone and ease everybody's mind that that's not what we're here for, mm-hmm. to run you guys off. We're here to challenge you to be a part of what's going to happen down the road. And I told them that when we end up going to Omaha and hopefully winning a national championship someday, it's going to be because you guys decided to buy in. And I just feel like that. That's me and how I coach and what I do. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's anything different than what I did in the late 80s at Upper Iowa. Mm-hmm. It's just our plan and our system, and it works for me. I don't know that it will for everybody, but that's what I do.
And getting into Big Ten baseball, because it's a tough conference. I mean, it's one of the power conferences, and coming from a mid-major level to the big D1 level, and we talked about this a little bit off camera and getting your thoughts on it. What has been the difference from mid-major to the power conference? Is there really any difference?
Well, I mean, you're talking to a guy who started out as a high school coach and worked his way up the ladder. I spent 12 years at a Division III school and 14 years at what they would call mid-major schools, and now this will be my third year, at Iowa. I have a lot of respect for all the coaches out there. There are awesome coaches that are every bit as good as the best guys in Division I and Division III, and Division II, and junior college, and same with the mid-major. So I really don't even think about it in those terms. I mean, I never go into a series, or our players will never go into a series saying, "Oh, we're playing a mid-major, whatever. We got to play. We got to find a way to win or whatever." I mean, we treat everybody the same. We treat everybody with respect. And as we were talking off camera, I mean, the biggest difference for me is that being in a conference like the Big Ten, we have some resources that we didn't have at the other schools, and we had a lot more help from our support staff that really helps make the job easier. Facilities, those types of things, is the primary difference. But as far as players and coaches, there's good players and good coaches everywhere in the country.
Is the recruiting a little different, or is it?
Well, I think I found it to be a little bit easier because of the name recognition.
Yeah,
obviously,
brand recognition.
Well, our football teams, basketball teams, are all over the country, and they do extremely well.
Well, the football team is going Rose Bowl. Is that right?
Yeah. And so, I mean, being a Hawkeye, you've got name recognition anywhere that you go, and so it really gives you a chance to get in and recruit nationally if you choose to. I mean, we obviously try to do a good job in our state, but we feel like we can go anywhere in the country, and with the Hawkeye name, have a good chance to get that kid to at least come out and take a visit. And then once he sees what we have, and the high academics at Iowa and in the Big Ten, that really helps as well.
Well, I mean, when you start thinking about the schools that are involved with the Big Ten, I mean, who wouldn't want to play in that conference? I mean, with the mid-majors, that's what they're kind of battling with, is they don't have that name recognition as the Iowa or the Indiana or the Notre Dame or whatever.
Right.
So now on the recruiting end, do you recruit more junior college players, high school players, or is it a mix, or it just depends on the year? Or?
Well, I think we've always tried to get the best high school kids that we could, just because I think if you can get a kid for 4 years, I mean, in one system, it makes it easier. And but we've always had good junior college players, and we're blessed here in Iowa to have some of the best junior college baseball in the country in our state, and then outside of our state in the Midwest. We have a lot of guys that do a great job in the surrounding states with the junior college program. So there's always an abundance of good players out there. And then what we generally do is we try to find the very best elite high school players that we can. If we have a hole to fill, we can't find that guy, we'll definitely branch out to the junior college ranks, and we've done so effectively pretty much every stop along the way for me.
A lot of our guys have the question, like, what should I do academically? How should I do it with social media? I mean, there's so many questions when it comes down to the recruiting end of things. On the academic side, I mean, is there a clear-cut thing, or I mean, how important is it? I mean, what should they know about academics?
Well, what they need to know is that it starts when they're a freshman. You can't afford to have a bad freshman year or a bad sophomore year and then figure it out, because you look at how things are going and how recruiting is sped up. I mean, there are guys committing freshmen, and that's just the way. Whether you like it or not, that's what's happening. And at our school, it's really important that they are a very good student. It's not easy at Iowa, and the classes are tough. And then you also, in baseball, want to have guys that can get some academic scholarships. And so it's really important that those guys get off to a good start, and that's what they need to know coming out of 8th grade, is that if you want to be a Division I baseball player, you have to focus on your academics from day one.
Now, do you guys use social media all with the players that you recruit? Do you check on them, or is social media kind of just like, what they do out there is none of my business? I mean, it is. I'm glad to have them a part of the program.
No, social media, it's changed. It's changed everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been, for me doing this over 30 years, it's been kind of slow coming from me. My assistants do a way better job than I do, but we're tracking all those guys, and I mean, let's just say that we're looking at a freshman or a sophomore, and he's sending out crazy stuff on Twitter that makes you think that he's a selfish player, or he's undisciplined, or he's disrespectful. I mean, we pretty much knocked that guy off the list right now.
Wow.
I mean, there's enough guys out there that aren't doing that and that want to play, look at it as a privilege to come here. I mean, whether it's right or wrong, I mean, if you're throwing that stuff out there, it's definitely going to affect you, and that goes the same for our players. I mean, they have to be educated, and University of Iowa does a great job with that as far as educating our players and all the athletes at Iowa on what they can and can't do. And anything you throw out there, as you well know, I mean, the world knows in 10 minutes. So we have to be smart, but then on the other side of it, it's very beneficial to get your brand out there and be able to communicate with a lot of people in a hurry, and for recruits and players to follow you.
So compliance actually works with the players on this as well. I can only go off of what I know, but they in the beginning of the school year they actually sit them down and talk to them and talk about how to do media engagement, interviews, and everything like that.
Correct. Yeah, all of our guys will go through that and more than once. It's not just a one-time thing. I mean, there are reminders and review sessions, and they'll do it again probably when we start school in the second semester. Especially with the spring sports, just as a reminder of do's and don'ts, and you just have to be smart.
Now, does the head of the athletic department, does he actually talk to them as well about it to make sure that they're represented well, or is it?
No, yeah, they do. I mean, everyone in the beginning of the year, the compliance people will handle it, and then the sports information people also do a great job of facilitating it as well. So, and then they're getting it from the coaching staff, because we are also going to meetings with our athletic directors, and they're educating us as well. So it's a constant, ongoing thing, just to make sure. Because I mean, you think about it. I mean, let's say you're a player and you're 0 for 20, and guys they start popping off to you on social media, and you're reading that stuff. I mean, we've all seen instances where guys pop off back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, when you look at ESPN, you'll see that on ESPN, and luckily you don't have the college athlete under that spotlight, because I'm sure there's some tweets out there in the early days that ESPN could have got a hold of and blow it out of proportion.
Yeah, I tell our guys, if you're going to read the good stuff, then you better be
ready to read the best.
Yeah, it's coming. In fact, there's a lot of guys hoping you fail because they like to do that more.
I mean, the media can be your best friend, or it could be your worst enemy. Exactly. It just depends on how you are and how polarizing you are. So, but I mean, that's good stuff. Now, with recruiting services, I know that a lot of players have questions about recruiting services and whether to do it or not do it. I mean, do you have anything you want to say on that end of things, or is there something that you would say, hey, this is what we do. We love this event, we love that event, summer ball. I mean, what do you? Let me phrase it a little bit better. What is the recruiting like for Iowa?
Well, I mean, you're constantly gathering names, however you can get them. Recruiting services, friends, your events that you attend yourself, whoever your contacts are. I mean, that never ends. I mean, and I kind of think this time of the year when we can't be on the road, that's when we're gathering and gathering and gathering, especially now that we're having to recruit younger kids. It's trying to find names. There are a lot of services out there that we subscribe to, so that we can make sure we're on top of our game and know all the names and go from there. And then let's start in the summer. I mean, as soon as our season's over, we're all three coaches. You can have 3 coaches on the road. I mean, and we're hammering it all summer long. And one of the things that makes our job a little bit tougher here in Iowa is that our high schools play in the summer. So when I was in Indiana, a lot of times there weren't a lot of events to attend during the week, so you could get caught up a little bit. And then you headed out on Thursday or Friday to the next event. Well, here we're doing that, but we're also recruiting our state, which we have to do a good job in. So we're out at games pretty much every night during the course of the summer. We try to do a couple camps in the summer so that we can try to get some kids, if they have time, to come here. And then, when we get into the fall, it's the same story. We kind of shift our attention a little bit more to the junior colleges and hammer those guys every weekend. And then, at least one guy or 2 guys will be doing a junior college event, and then we'll also be doing the fall events for the high school kids. and then still trying to run fall practice and have kids in. We have basically the official visit has kind of gone away for kids like it was when I first started coaching.
Yeah.
We'd have the big weekends and kids were juniors and they were really making their decision at the last second. Whereas now we have unofficial visits all the time. Kids are coming to campus throughout the week all year long, and so that keeps you busy. And
well, you have meetings with those players, and they try to schedule meetings to get to know you and see if there's an opportunity or something like that.
And then the kids will make their decision, and then they usually come in their last year for their official visit and go to a football game with that group of recruits and that type after they've already decided. Awesome. So it's kind of nice, but it's just a never-ending game. And for us, our camps are important. I mean, we run a big fall showcase over Labor Day weekend where we go 2 days, and it's pretty intensive. We videotape everything, and so we try to get as many good players to that one as we can, so we can actually have a chance to work with them, see how their aptitude is in instruction and that type of thing, get to know them a little bit better. And then we do the same thing in the winter months. We have a bunch of camps over Christmas break, and then we have another evaluation camp in early February, late January, where we bring in a new crop of kids that names that we've gathered over the winter, so that we have a chance to get a look at them right away. It's tough. It's really tough during the spring.
And I was about to ask you that because I get players asking like, well, why isn't coaches coming to the spring? It's like, well,
they're playing.
They're playing. I mean, he's in Texas or he's in Arkansas playing the University of Arkansas. He's not. I mean, it's tough in the spring.
And it's even getting to the point where you're sending your coaches out, or at least one of the recruiting coordinator or one of the coaches to miss games and see guys. I mean, I know it happens all the time. I don't think we've got to a point where we do it a whole lot, but I mean it's happened. And the days off, you're recruiting guys out watching as many games as he can. So it just goes constantly. And I just say, to your question about what the kids should do, I mean, they just have to get out there and play and get seen. I mean, there's enough services and reports that their name's going to get out there. I mean, if they're sitting back in the weeds and not doing anything, that's about the only way.
I feel like the opportunity now, even when I'm only been removed for not long, and it seems like the opportunity is far greater now than it was when I was there, and the opportunity when I was playing was great as well. So I mean, it's very interesting to where it's going.
Yeah, I used to say you could outwork people before the services came in, and now they make it so they just drop the information on everybody's desk and didn't know who to go see. But it's been a big change, and it's ever changing. But finding the young kids, and I guess the big thing with those young kids, like we talked about earlier, is knowing that they have to be on top of the game academically from the start, and that they honestly have to show signs of playing well before they've even developed, for guys to jump on them early.
So with State, with your coaching staff, how many guys do you have on your coaching staff?
Well, you have 2 paid assistants per NCAA rule, and then you have a volunteer, and then you can have an operations director.
Okay, gotcha. And then what does the baseball operations director do? Is
he helps out with a lot of things, and in every program kind of has it a little bit different. But our guy, Desi Druschel, does an awesome job. He's a longtime head coach at the Division III NAI level, and he does what he does for us. He does our camps. Yeah. He's our camp coordinator. He also does all of our video, and we're blessed to have some really nice video system that helps our guys analyze, and also from a scouting perspective, he oversees that with our volunteer. And then really he's just a guy that does all the travel on the road, deals with a lot of the budget situations with me. Gotcha. And those are his primary responsibilities.
Gotcha. And for the best opportunity for guys out there to come see the University of Iowa, you say go to a baseball camp and for the winter, and be able to you have a winter camp. Yep. And then during that time they'll go over the hitting drills and that you guys work on an everyday basis and everything.
Yep. And we try to balance our camps, all seasons, so that if it doesn't work out for you as a freshman or sophomore this winter because you're playing basketball, then maybe you can get to the summer one, or maybe you can get to the fall one. So we try to balance them out so that the kids that do multiple sports can make it in, especially the kids from farther away. It just makes it easier for us to pinpoint. We send out a lot of questionnaires and to the kids that we track down in the off season or whenever the information comes to us, and that's one of the easiest ways to let us know that you're serious about Iowa is if you come to one of our camps, and we sign kids out of our camps every year.
Where do you guys open up this year?
We open up at Dallas Baptist. It's going to be a tough challenge, one of the better programs in the country, and then Dan Hefner's an awesome coach and a good friend. He actually worked with me at UNI.
Oh, really?
In the early 2000s, and it was his first. We worked together. It was his first college coaching job. Wow. So we go way back, and I have a lot of respect for Dan and what they do. And they have a wonderful facility, so it should be a fun start to.
It'll be a shootout.
Yes,
there'll be a lot of. If anyone has never been to Dallas Baptist, it is the home run park of America. It is the best park. I can only imagine the old bats of how many home runs went out of that ballpark. So it's good. One more question. Do you Snapchat?
I get Snapchatted a lot. I don't Snapchat myself. It's usually from my wife sending me Snapchats of my daughter. So. But I got a few other guys that send me stuff.
Gotcha. Well, Coach, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Guys, I will link down Iowa's schedule. So if you want to come up, it's only a short drive from St. Louis, or if you're from the surrounding area, please check them out. They're a very good program, as you could tell from the stats that I rolled off in the beginning of the interview. So thanks again for joining, and until next time, see ya.